Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. Thank you. Thank you, people, once again for joining us on a Sunday night for your weekly edition of Red Fellas. Hope you're all well, hope you're all safe. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna pretend there's something wrong with the chat because I can't see any comments in the chat. I hope it's up. Oh, it's up, it's up, it's up, it's running, it's running, it's running. People, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you're all doing well. We are here, as you can see, with a couple of debutants on the show, I believe, on this particular show. I know they've been on my channel before, but of course, I've got the ever reliable, possibly, Steve, possibly you are the new James Milner. Because ever since I labeled Conroy James Milner, he's become a bit of a Thiago.
Wow.
Yeah. He's started off to Brighton, yeah. Or wherever he is at the moment, yeah.
Mexico, Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah. So just you shouldn't have told him that, mate, because just got ideas well above his station, mate, and
I tell
he's
you,
gone. The
he's
lesser
gone.
spotted Conroy it's become now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It has. He's been all over South America. So yeah, plenty of dogs abuse for Conroy missing the most important game ever in the Premier League. Well, one of them anyway. But thanks, Steve, for joining us. And of course, I've got Ben with me as well. Ben's been on plenty of times. I'm pretty sure he's been on about 4 or 5 times on my channel. But making his debut on Red Fellas, Ben, you're very, very welcome.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, mate. Thanks for the call up. And we did have me and Bilal. We had our own show, didn't we? A long time ago now.
Of course you
Young
did. And you know what?
Yeah.
Some of the thumbnails and some of the shows, they listen, they deserve far more credit than they got and far more coverage. We might have to bring that back, Ben. We're gonna have to talk afterwards.
I don't feel too young now, though. I'm going on 27, so we might have to change the title. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Well, there you go. Look,
Yeah.
talk of the devil.
There he is.
Hello from Peru.
Partner
He's
in
not
crime.
he's not in Peru. He's somewhere in South London probably. He's making out he's in Peru. Omar's definitely not in Peru. Do you know what I mean? But he gives you a nice welcome,
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Much
You
love,
know what I
Omar,
mean?
man.
So
Miss you, bro.
there you go. There you go. We all miss Omar. And Dan's been on with me a couple of times, a couple of post-match reactions, but making his debut on Red Fellas as well, Dan. Hope you're doing very, very well. I think I've unmute you now. I'll let you speak. See, speak when you're spoken to. Do you know what I mean? All of that stuff. I'm such a dictator. Sorry.
That's why that's the hat, isn't it? That's why you wear the hat, isn't it? You make
Yes.
sure you know what's going on.
Yes. Genghis
But
Khan.
as you know, I've been traveling a lot recently, doing different bits here and there, working for kind of different broadcasting companies. So it's nice to get back to the UK for a little bit.
Amazing, amazing. Always is, always is. There's nothing quite like home, is there? Like you can travel the world working like you do with so many different broadcasting companies, but when you hit home, it's just that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling, as I described being a Liverpool fan these days.
But you know what though, mate? So a lot of what I'm doing right now, like freelance work, is with Premier League productions, and a lot of it is within the Nordic countries, and they're the best people ever. They're so nice. They're
Nice
so
one.
good. They're lovely people. It's
What's
it's very expensive though. You want a pint? Jesus Christ! It'll cost you. But in general, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's nice. It's nice to travel. It's nice to work with Premier League productions. I've done, as you know, a little bit of stuff with BT as well. Tiny bit with Sky, but Sky's a bit strange. So that I don't think that'll be a full time thing. But it's nice to travel. It's good.
good stuff, but it's good to have you back in the country, and it's definitely good to have you on Red Fellas tonight. We're here to discuss, guys. We're here to discuss Liverpool and Man City. Man City won, Liverpool won at the Etihad. Steve, what a difference 8 months makes. Pretty much 8 months ago. We mentioned last week how it was probably the most, what's the opposite of eagerly anticipated? The most feared fixture for me. I went to the Etihad last season and I was thinking, Please, 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 let's not get embarrassed today, because that's how bad we were. That's how good they were. Fast forward 8 months, and we spoke about the mood all week, and you was probably one of the biggest cheerleaders of. No, I'm very, very positive. I was very confident of not losing, but not very confident of winning. Would that have been a fair take?
I was just up for it. Like I said on the previous show, that's a new style Liverpool that City haven't played against before. It's not the sort of three midfielders that sit 30 yards back. The press has changed. We play with 2 8s and not really a 6 at the moment. So different style for Liverpool to take to the Etihad. Not one that Manchester City would have enjoyed playing against, purely because we asked questions. And that was the reason why I was so up for it. That was the reason why I really wanted. This game couldn't come quick enough for me, so I went into that feeling now's the time. If you're going to play them, no De Bruyne, no John Stones, 2 key players. Let's get after them. Learn a little bit from the Chelsea game where Chelsea scored 4 goals against them by being brave. And before we go on to the other lads, there was something Klopp said during the comments prior to the game, which was, let's be super brave, and I was really there for that. Really needed to see that. So yeah, you know how positive I was going into the game.
Ben, you're mostly a very positive Liverpool fan from the experiences I've had with you and the interactions I've had with you. But even you last season, this reverse fixture, just start off by describing the mood change from how you went into that fixture, if you can remember, or you care to remember, and then this coming week, like leading up to the fixture.
Well, I was scarred, mate, because I was actually in the ground on that day. I was luckily / unlucky, whichever way you want to look at it. I say lucky because I never turned down, away tickets or gold dust for everybody. So if you can get your hands on them at face value, I'd always consider yourself lucky. So I was able to go to the game, and I came out of the game just feeling empty, just let down, disappointed by what I'd just seen. And I think, like I said, I was scarred by it, and I just thought, like tomorrow, obviously Friday night, I just want to see the boys battle, and I just want to see completely different energy, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw a completely different Liverpool side to the team that we saw last season go to the Etihad, and we'll get into it. But even just jumping ahead, when we did go a goal down, I didn't see heads drop. I didn't see people down tall. I didn't see anybody play within themselves. And I think that is the biggest bit of credit you can give this team compared to last season. We're refreshed, we're energized, and we will fight until the end of the season. And people will go, oh, they're overhyping a draw or a point. We know how hard that team is to beat, especially at the Etihad, more than anybody. And that is the first time they've dropped points at home this calendar year. So it just goes to show how tough that is. So the toughest game, as far as I'm concerned, that we'll play all year round is done now. We came out of it with a good point, I would say. And we've boxed it off, and we can look on to the very tough December that is coming up. So I'm excited.
Dan, Ben's spot on. I call it the hardest fixture in world football. I've got no shame in glorifying Man City. I don't really feel an animosity towards them as such. I know they've been an absolute pain in the ass for us, because we would have had another couple of leagues and maybe a Champions. No, not a Champions League because of them, but at least another couple of leagues. But we've got to accept when something is glaring in your face. And 23 winning run at home is quite the record. We become the first team to stop that, as Ben says, or the team to stop that, I should say, not the first team. The team to stop that winning run. What was your mood going into this game from compared to the last season, and what was the difference? What made the difference in mood for you?
So my big nerves about the game was more around the South American players, thinking, can they come back and can they play? That was like a big, because I was thinking, if McAllister can't play, we've got Endo in there, and he might be a good squad player, but he's not going to be the guy. That worried me a little bit. Nunez as well was banging them in for Uruguay. I think he's got 3 goals in 2 games, I think. And he was doing really well. So that was really encouraging. But I thought, okay, so if they can't play though, what do we do? What do we do? Because as light as their bench was, you take away our South American players, our bench is light. There's no one there. So I get that the fact he played Jota over Diaz. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. I'll be honest though, mate. Like I went in the match, didn't I? So we like it in like around. So in the Etihad or whatever it's called now, you kind of in like the back corner. That's where they put you. So we put us there, and everyone knew a goal was coming. A goal was coming. Everyone could feel it. And then when Trent scored, it was obviously amazing. But we all knew it. We went, oh no, definitely gonna score. We're definitely gonna score. And that's very different from last season, where if they went 1-0 up last season, I'd think, oh, it's gonna be 4-0. It's such a different change of mentality. It's crazy.
It's a change in mentality, but I think obviously the key difference, Steve, I come to you with we get into the lineups, is the lineups. We have a total different team this time round. When I say total different team, well, we know the amount of changes from last season. So last season's midfield was Harvey Elliott, Fabinho. Oh, this always happens, doesn't it, when it refreshes and then you get caught off guard. Fabinho, Elliott, and Henderson was our midfield last season, Steve. Jota, Gakpo, and Salah. I think it was Jota, Gakpo, and Salah up front, and then we had Konate partnering Virgil at the back last season. So there's quite a significant amount of changes, but obviously the most obvious and glaring differences was in midfield. And I guess the sticking point in selection-wise was Curtis Jones or Gravenberch. I think Alexis McAllister was a shoo-in. Szoboszlai was a shoo-in. It was Curtis Jones or Gravenberch. Was you okay with Curtis Jones starting? Did you think that was the way to go?
I fully expected him to start purely because of the ball retention side of things, and Gravenberch tries things, and when players try things, they give the ball away. And it's no secret, it's well documented that when Curtis Jones plays for Liverpool, they keep the ball better. That said, we'll get into it. I don't think he had a great game. In terms of the team we took there 8 months ago and the team we took there at the weekend, is the team's got an energy that it didn't have the last time we went there. It was flat and it was easy you could run off the midfield all day long. Szoboszlai is a creative player that wants to look forward. McAllister wants to look forward. You got a guy wearing a 10 shirt playing in a number 6 role. Makes sense of that, if you will. But at the end of the day, this team's got energy now. Those lads, first time to go to Manchester City, a little bit of a point to prove to themselves. In terms of can I mix it? The treble winners. Can I be good enough to go there and give a good account of myself? So there's a difference in the midfield. It's further up the pitch. It asks more questions. It stops City's back four joining in with the back of their midfield, and when that happens, you're in trouble. The year we won the league and turned up bevied and we lost handsomely there, they just camped themselves in our half and just teased us all game. So just a different feeling to what we're doing at the moment, a different energy, new challenges for the players, legacies and memories to write for those guys. Makes a massive difference when you're asking players who've played 500 times, in Jordan Henderson's case for Liverpool, to go to Manchester City and feel the occasion, as opposed to going to Manchester City and it being just another game against Man City. Makes a difference, and it's making a difference throughout all of the fixtures this season. We have an energy we haven't had for years.
Ben, obviously, all eyes were on the back line in terms of what we're going to do at centre half, and obviously that's related to what we're going to do at fullback, in the left back area, I should say. So we know Trent. Some people may have called for Trent to play midfield and Gomez right back, but I think I think the consensus was Konate over Matip and then Gomez over Simicas. But Jurgen Klopp being Jurgen Klopp and being the manager of Liverpool and knowing far more than us and seeing his players train, seeing his players perform, really kind of surprised us, but didn't surprise us in a way because he went with what he knows, what he trusts. Simicas on the back of his possibly his best game in ages against Brentford, and Joe Matip has just been like a reborn player this season. Of course, he scores that own goal at Spurs, but even that was unlucky.
Yeah.
What was you feeling? I was apprehensive. I've got no shame in admitting feelings because we're fans. We have feelings as well. We're not robots, as some people like to call us. We have feelings as well. Joe Matip and Simicas more so, did worry me before the game, Ben.
Yeah, I think they were obviously the two that people were debating, and I'll just start with Matip. I predicted Matip to start this game. I just feel like, there's the word trust, and he trusts Matip. Not that he doesn't trust Konate. I think obviously that is the Champions League winning defense right there, and more often than not, when Matip has been fit and available, he has started games, and I think out of the two, he's probably had the better season so far up to now. I think Matip's been so underrated. I think he's been brilliant, and yesterday he was outstanding, didn't put a single foot wrong. Simicas, I've been one of his biggest critics recently, to be fair. And I'll hold my hands up to that. But I think we're, as guys on this show, probably differ to a lot of people on social media. Will happily hold our hands up and say, you know what, Kostas, you had a great game out there. And that's what we want to see more often. He's proven he can do it against some of the trickiest players in the world. So we just want to see the consistency now, whilst Andy Robertson is out. And you know what, whilst he's been out, I think people have opened their eyes a bit and thought, oh, actually, Robertson is still a vital part to this team. And it's not an easy spot to fill at all. So whilst he's out, we've needed him to pull his socks up, and so far I don't think he's done a bad job at all. He got the new deal, of course, which again a lot of people were a bit unsure about, because maybe he's a player that we could have cashed in for, got a double figure fee or whatever. But yeah, if he's going to perform like this and step up in these big games when needed, fair play to him. And yeah, like I say, long may it continue. We've got some very tough games coming up. Again, I don't know when Robbo's going to be back, but the confidence must be flowing for him right now. Playing away at the Etihad like that, yeah, he should be proud of himself, I think.
Dan, the game starts in, I'd say, not a usual way in terms of a Man City Liverpool game at the Etihad. Usually it's very, very gung-ho, fiery. I thought it was quite a measured approach, even from them. They had a lot of possession, and we know where the obvious threat was going to come, and they made it so obvious. It was unbelievable. I'll show you guys the formations, the average positions later, but it was obvious they were going to try to just give it to Doku and then see what he can do. Was you a bit worried in that opening 10-15 minutes? Because, look, I've called Doku, this is not after the Lord Mayor show, I've called Doku a couple of weeks back probably the best one-on-one winger in Europe right now. That doesn't mean he's the best winger, that doesn't mean he's the best player, but in terms of having the ability to beat a man one-on-one, I think he has amazing attributes and qualities to do that. Was you worried for Trent in terms of how many times he was being isolated very earlier on?
So before the game, I was, yes, I'll be honest, yeah, I was. But it's a little bit like, do you remember the 17-18 season when Trent had to go against Sané? And he just knows that's what I do. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to do it. He'd done the same thing today, except he'd done that today, but then at the same time added this amazing attribute of, oh, I will also push into midfield. He played two passes, like in the ground. He played two passes to Salah, and the Man City fans were going, "Way!" And then he realized, oh no, it's a really, really good pass. He knows what he's doing. He's different. He's a different level. So as much I do worry a bit, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure because you need to weigh up the positives towards the negatives. Like, is it worth having that guy who's going to do that much stuff? But at the same time, if you do that, you lose the defensive abilities. I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer for that.
Look, the game starts, Ben, and it does seem like it's going to be a long evening for Trent. But I found, is Ben still there? Yeah, Ben is there. I found, a boxing analogy, Ben. I found them a lot to be jabs and hardly any knockout punches as such. There was a lot of jabbing and posturing from Man City in that opening 15-20 minutes. And we had our moments as well. But what I was slightly disappointed was the way we... Okay, I'm going to ask you, did you think we tended to overpass it in that opening 20 minutes, 50 minutes? Do you think we were too careful and lackadaisical with our passing? Because normally we get the ball to the forward lads very quickly. But I thought we're trying to... I mean, and I agree with you, Joe Matip was always going to play. And one of the reasons Joe Matip was going to play was his calmness under possession. But I just felt too many players were too calm. And we're going to come on to probably the most calmest. Well, we could come on to him. Alisson in that opening, half or so. Oh, Ben's gone. Steve, are you there? We come to Steve. Did you feel that we were too... What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? We were too casual, passive.
Yeah, we were. We've got to stop.
Yeah.
As a team, we've got to stop waiting to see what the opposition can do. We've got enough quality in the ranks, enough ability in the ranks to go and force ourselves on games. I don't like this sit off for 10 minutes and play your way into a game. I like the gung-ho first 25 minutes, half an hour where we go for it and put teams to the sword. I absolutely think that's the type of football we should be playing. I've always said throughout loads of conversations with you that if you're brave against Manchester City, you get rewarded for being brave against Manchester City. Leeds did it with 9 men. Chelsea did it in the Champions League final. We've done it before against them. I wanted us to be brave right from the off. But because we can see the early goals, because we don't start games well, what we're tending to do at the moment is just sit in a little bit and see if we can contain and then grow into the game. That old analogy, you've got to earn the right to play football. Sometimes when you're as good as Liverpool are and you've got the players and the ability and the passages of play, don't do that. Go and let the other team earn the right to play. Just blow them away. And I wanted Liverpool to be super offensive against City right from the word go, because I always feel that you can get something against them if you do. So didn't start great, you're right. Gave the ball away loads, far too much. It was like watching some games from last season when the old replay came on. By the time we went back to the match, they had the ball again. So not the start we probably would have wanted, but didn't cause us too much damage. So going forward, I'd just like to see us get a grip of the game, like we did against Villa at home, which was like the best 90 minutes of the season. So get hold of the game early doors, even against Manchester City, because there's not much in it, mate. There really is. The margins are really, really small between the top 2 teams at the top of the league for me.
Guys, I've heard this kind of statement, and I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Steve, but I disagreed with the notion of we gave them too much respect. I think we were just not effective in our game plan in executing it. I don't think our plan was to give them that much respect. I think we just didn't execute our moves, our passes, the pace of our passes, because you have to respect them, Ben. That's 23 wins in a row. They're the treble winners. And by the way, I keep saying this, that's the easiest treble you're ever going to see won. They walked that treble. Let's not kid ourselves. So we were right to show them some respect. But, and look, and of course, Joe Matip shows them total disrespect by dribbling halfway off the pitch, because that's the first chance of the game, Ben. He dribbles up the pitch, does one of his Joe Matip dribbles, gives it out to Salah, goes in the box. Now we've got Nunez and Salah and Jota in the box, all brilliant in the air. Salah clips across, not enough pace on it, but Nunez with the first chance causes A bit of distress for Ederson. Could he have done better? Should he have done better? Oh God, is Ben there? No. I'll come to you, Dan. Could he have done better? Should he have done better?
I am here. My connection is all over the place. Can you hear me?
No worries, we can hear you. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry. It's probably going to keep stuttering out. Everyone's streaming stuff. I've told them to stop, but no one's listening.
Now Dan's gone.
Yeah,
but so it's all right. Brilliant. This is amazing. This is Khanage. Khanage at his best. Football Khanage. Go on. Khanage by name, Khanage by nature. But sorry, Ben. Go on if you're still there.
Played a bit within myself. Oh no.
You're back.
Yeah. How long for? That's the question.
You're here.
Hopefully we're good. I'll try to sort it out in a moment. But
no worries.
Yeah, I felt we played a bit within ourselves. I'm not sure. Again, the whole respect thing. I think Trent did allude to that at the end of his interview. He didn't seem too happy with how we started. At least he did mention that he felt that we did show them a bit too much. But I was just a bit disappointed in terms of our efficiency, because when you're playing at the Etihad, you're not going to get as many chances as you are at Anfield. And I know we can't keep comparing our attackers that we've got now to the great Salah, Mane, and Firmino, but I just kept thinking, if we give those guys half, they're probably scoring 1 or 2 more goals, I believe.
Ben's right. Look like everyone's streaming today. The Wi-Fi's. Try coming in and out again, Ben. Try coming in and out again. Let's bring in Dan. It's just a substitution time. Sub in, sub one out. Guys, if it continues,
I'm not sub for Ben, am I?
Yeah, I think I think by the end, this is what Dylan says. This is going to turn into a 2-man show with Grizz and Steer at this rate. All right, let's give them one chance each, and see how it goes. Dan, should Nunez done better? Was our start too timid in your opinion, or was it expected going away to City? There was always going to be on the front foot, and it was a case of weathering the storm.
That's a lot of questions. Should Nunez have done better? He should have. Yeah, he should have. Yeah, he should have, for sure. But at the same time, he had a really good game, I think. Like, I was in the corner, so I couldn't see it too well. But the way he ran the channels, I like that a lot. Could he have done better? Yeah, he should have scored. But the great thing about Nunez is that every game you see him play, he should score. That's his thing. He should always score. The reason he should always score because he's always there. He's just like a poacher.
He's a chance magnet, isn't he? He's a chance magnet. I think that's the best way of describing it.
Yeah, and he's also got a little bit more skill. Like Man City fans won't like to hear this, but he's got a little bit more about him as a footballer than Haaland does as well.
Oh, big call, no? Okay.
Yeah, well, he can link the play. How many goals from Salah has come from Nunez this season?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah.
No, it's 7. I know. No, it's 7. I know already. That's 7 goals from Nunez to Salah. So he's not. Although he's a number 9, quote unquote, he's not. There's a different breed of number 9s, which are coming through, and he is part of that breed. Where did you see him after the match? Someone sent me before, so I was obviously in the way end, but someone sent me a TikTok or a video, and it's Nunez just going patting the.
Oh, he's got the passion. He's definitely got the passion. But I want to get onto the first incident that sort of hampers us. Steve, there's one game a season, Steve, where Alisson decides to play like your local Sunday league keeper. Now, I'm only putting this down to jet lag and the fact that he's been halfway around the world, because that's the only way to describe Alisson in that during that whole game. Why? What happens? And the thing is, Steve, you can always tell he's going to have that game from the start, and he continues. He just can't buck it. He can't stop it.
No. Yeah. Let's be honest. He pulls off 2 or 3 world-class saves as well. So I think his Sunday League goalkeeper would be pleased with a couple of those saves. But I get your point. Is there something in him that says, "Well, today I need to be really effective with passing the ball out because Ederson will be all of those things," and a little bit of pressure on him because they're both vying for the Brazilian number 1 shirt, and how you distribute a football has become such a big thing for a goalkeeper. Probably put himself under a little bit of pressure, jet lag, 100%. Listen, the sliced clearance for the goal, we've seen him twice play Mo Salah clean through with that exact pass. So it's a strange technique where he sort of launches the ball upwards and then swivels and almost catches it sideways on. It's really bizarre technique, and he sliced it, and then there's a catalogue of errors. The 2 lads in close proximity to Ake should do better. And this is the thing, just on a bit of a segment on Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez is not the finished article in terms of what Darwin Nunez can be, and I take the point that was made previously about he's different to Erling Haaland in that he is a creator and he can lead the line. Erling Haaland is a stereotypical goal scorer. He is world class. He's the finished article at what he does. His 2 touches in the finish, Allister would be disappointed, but it bobbled as he went to reach out for it. That's the difference between the 2. So there's a chance for Nunez where he can't get the ball out of his feet and it gets taken off him. Haaland's first touch is sublime, gets him away from any marker, and then he finishes. He's the finished article. He's world class. He's not going to get better at that. He'll always have that. He won't get better at it. Whereas Nunez is going to get better at all the things he does. So I take the point that was made previously, but poor goals to give away.
That's the frustrating part, Steve. That's the frustrating part. Because,
it is.
Because they did play well, and we weren't awful, but they weren't creating chance after. It wasn't a barrage. Do you remember last season against? Sorry to jog the memories or the nightmares of last season, but they were creating chances at will last season. They were walking through with ease last season. We were making it difficult for them. The shuffling from the midfield, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, on the ball weren't great, Steve, but off the ball, they were magnificent off the ball. On the ball, yes, we know Curtis Jones got stick. And rightly so, he was rusty on the ball. Szoboszlai had a couple of moments we'll get into where he drives, puts the ball through to Nunez, and he has a bit of a chance, or a chance to create a chance. But the amount of work them 3 put in was the night and day compared to the 3. And I'm not criticizing only them. The whole team was awful last season and looked dead on its feet. That's what makes it so frustrating, Steve, that in that situation, you've made the other team toil, go side to side, give it to Doku. Doku's fainting, and Sofa scores, counting it as a dribble every time. He feints, that's a dribble. He feints, that's a dribble. It's not. But we'll get onto that maybe, or maybe we won't. Alisson, so experienced, Steve. Okay, we know he's created so many goals with that early.
Yeah.
So we can't blame him. So then who do we blame? Is there like a collective lack of urgency after that from Trent Szoboszlai? And he should save it as well.
Yeah, he should. I think they all look at each other. He slams the ground in frustration because, with there's chances to deal with that. How many times have we sat here on a Sunday evening and looked at goals and thought, there's 3 or 4 of them culpable for that? So we've got to do 1 or 2 things. We've got to accept that's football and it happens. And both Carragher and Neville said this, during the game. Or do we continue to let it frustrate us? I'm not entirely sure which one I'd prefer to do. That we do give chances away, and I think we will continue to give chances away. Maybe not like that. That's a sort of a everything all came at once, didn't it, type of thing. If you look at that short passage of play where he didn't clear it, didn't deal with the challenge, didn't get close enough to the striker, didn't really cover himself in glory getting down for the shot.
It just looked so easy. And
Yeah,
the
it did.
last thing you want to do is make it look easy for Man City, who tend to make things look easy anyway. So it was like a collection of, my head kind of dropped. I mean, I didn't give up, but I just thought, at least make them score a wonder goal. Don't make them score something that we've gifted. And it seemed like a gift, Steve.
Yeah, it was too easy. And in hindsight, you look at it and you think, wow, why do we do that? This is an elite football club at the top level of the best league in the world, and yet we're giving goals away that your Sunday League sides would give away, as you quite rightly mentioned. It's a thing we're doing at the moment. What is better this season than the last season is that's not a catalyst for heads to go down. We rally. We're not beaten. We just went, like you said, to a team that has beaten all 23 of its opponents in 2023 at the Etihad, and we stopped it. And we're only 11, 12, 13 games into this Liverpool 2.0. So we're still learning about ourselves. We're still finding our feet. We're still understanding what our roles are. And off the ball, you're absolutely right. To a man in midfield, they're absolutely amazing. McAllister's come out and said could barely keep his eyes open. He was so tired through jet lag.
That was so significant. That was so significant what he said there, Steve. And he was being honest. Now, that could be used against him, but it won't be because he's being honest, and it's the situation they find, because we forget they're humans, right? And they've traveled all around the world, played games for their national country. He didn't play on an ordinary game as well, people. He played in the derby of derbies, Brazil versus Argentina, in the heart of that midfield. I stayed up to watch that game, Steve. And it was one of those horrible games where you're just praying and hoping none of our boys get injured. It was that horrible.
Yeah.
So he's every right to be fatigued and feeling a bit sleepy. We've all been there. We've all been in college classes, uni lectures where we're a little bit tired and want a bit of shut-eye. But he was honest.
Yeah, he was. And to be fair, probably had one of his better games given the circumstances. Takes a little bit of credit from that game. And he's found it, as we've discussed many times, he's found it difficult to settle in and be all the things he wants to be. And the reality is he doesn't want to play in that position. So fair play to him. But you're right, that what we did off the ball to make life difficult for Man City is we remembered a little bit of the resilience we had away at Spurs before we got our hearts broken in the final seconds, where we just moved to shut down spaces, moved to close people down. It's kind of one-out pressing when we're in that situation. So if it's you and me, you kind of go to the ball when it gets shifted inside, I go to the ball, and then you take your position back again. And you're just saying to the opposition, go on, move it, go left, go right, but you're not going to find a way through. And that's as much to do with this new midfield, this idea that this new midfield's attempting to prove itself. Curtis Jones would be in that conversation of still trying to prove himself. Because the jury's out on him, and it probably will be for the most part of his Liverpool career. Yeah, exactly. So it is. He's got that to deal with, and Szoboszlai is just a class above, because without the ball, he's got an engine. He's quick. He's mobile. He's got good positional tactical awareness. And that was a game where he won't get the plaudits for what he did on the ball, and therefore lots of people will miss what he did off the ball. And there's people saying he was playing below his standard. No, he wasn't. He had a different job to do, and he executed the tactics that he was given spot on, pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. When I talk about execution, the game that we were supposed to play, I just think it lacked individuals' execution of those tactics, of those plans, because we were so nearly in a couple of times, and that was the whole game plan, right? To try to get Nunez on the last shoulder, to try to isolate Salah with Ake, and Szoboszlai to not pass through Rodri, but try to run past him, which is far easier than trying to play through him, because he'll just foul you. He's very good at reading the play. And so is that Bernardo Silva, Steve. Say what we want about him. We can hate him all we want. Before we move on, Philippe H sends in a super chat. Appreciate the support. He says, LFC's toughest game of the season done. LFC defense has stepped up. DM is the final piece of the puzzle that will make LFC title winners a must in January. Just your thoughts on that. And I know you mentioned about McAllister, and I wanted to come to McAllister near the end. But now that you've spoken about him, I want to give you my hot take on McAllister. It might be a hot take, it might not be. Some people might agree. Okay, actually, a hot take is usually that splits opinion right down the middle. So I guess it's a hot take. I think that game was the arrival of Alexis McAllister in a Liverpool team, in a Liverpool shirt, in that position. I think that was genuinely his best performance so far. And I think that will bode very well for the future. Now, that doesn't mean I think we shouldn't pursue an out-and-out DM in the summer, more so than in January, as Philippe suggests. But I think genuinely, I think McAllister was an absolute monster in that game. And I think it was the turning point in his Liverpool career so far. That's I'll put it out, that's my hot take, or call it what you want.
Can't disagree. Confidence levels will go through the roof from that performance because he competed. What I would say, Grizz, is I don't feel that he's going to play teams like City week in, week out. When he goes up against more physical players, dogs of war players like Everton midfielders and Fulham midfielders, and no disrespect to those guys, but when you don't have the quality, you up the ante a little bit physically. That's where I think the potential is.
I agree with you.
That's a little bit more.
That's a good take. I agree with you. But Rodri and Silva are as dogs as you can dog. Like, they are dogs of dogs.
They are. But their game plan is to keep the ball moving and create angles, not necessarily to smash your centre midfielders and put you under pressure. If you thought, I take your point, if you thought Bernardo Silva was playing solely to press your six and be physical, you'd be taking so much away from his game. I can't stand the bloke after the football song they sang on the plane and stuff like that. Can't bear to even look at him. But I do recognise a world-class footballer when I see him. Anyone who thinks he isn't hasn't got a clue.
He was so good.
But to be fair, whilst Rodri's got the dog in him, and all City's DMs have, Fernandinho was the same. They're educated to tactically foul like nobody else. City play football. Other teams against Liverpool and against Manchester City will try and spoil the game. And those are the games, I think, where you need a genuine someone who sees the dangers more so. We said in the build-up last week when I was pigeon-chested and shouted from the rooftops about I thought Liverpool had a chance. We said that City would come out and play, and that suits Liverpool. And City did come out and play, and that suited Liverpool. Where it's different and where you get a different set of dynamics, it will be horses for courses. You know for sure against City at Anfield, McAllister's going to play in that role because he's going to get a bit of extra time on the ball and he can use it well. His passing's good. His understanding of the game is really good. Little turns around the corner, little flicks and things like that. Really clever. Really clever football. Something that, a dog of war sitting at the back of your midfield, may not see. All he did on 2 or 3 occasions was change the trajectory of a moving ball and take people out of the game with little touches. That's like Thiago-esque in that regard, because that's what Thiago does. I think I agree that best performance in a Liverpool shirt by a long distance. That takes a lot of credit for it. I'm not sold on that's the best position for him, and I think that there's 3 of them that want to play in the left centre midfield role when everybody's in the club that should be in the club, and that's him, Gravenberch and Curtis Jones. That's an interesting dynamic because Szoboszlai on the other side seemingly has Harvey Elliott to deal with, and Harvey Elliott's become an impact player off the bench. So interesting to see what we do if we do anything. And the fact that he played as well as he did yesterday might mean we don't.
This is it. This is my point. Even though I'm glorifying McAllister, it's kind of might disappoint a few people in exactly what you said. Like, in glorifying McAllister's performance and saying that was his best performance in the DM role, might also encourage Klopp or discourage Klopp to go in the transfer market to bring in a DM. Do you get it? Because he thinks McAllister done a fantastic job there. Endo's good for Europa. Bejitic hopefully not far around the corner. We can look again in summer, which is probably what I think we're going to do. But look, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, I thought McAllister was by far the standout on the ball. I thought Szoboszlai was by far the standout off the ball. Curtis struggled a little bit. And then obviously come to halftime, we knew kind of the changes that were going to be made. Because looking at our subs bench, Steve, for the first time in a long, long time, Steve, we had clearly the stronger bench over Man City. That's quite an accomplishment already, isn't it? To have a stronger bench than them.
Yeah, it is, and it's what we've been crying out for, strength in depth. And we were missing players as well, you know. So at the end of the day, really good to be able to turn to Gravenberch. And I thought it was quite interesting when he came on. His need to want to pick up the ball and drive at people and go past Rodri like he wasn't there, like he did. You know, we don't really associate Gravenberch with having a turn of pace. But he did, and that was carrying the ball as well. And it's harder to run with the ball than without, for speaking the very obvious. But it's really interesting to see that the midfield really intrigues me. It really does. I'm looking at it thinking it's just so different. We've not seen a we've never seen a Liverpool midfield like this. We've never seen left and right push that far up the pitch. We spoke about previous shows. We spoke about what does it look like for Gakpo, and he's struggling because the space that he used to play in is now gone because it's been picked up by those two guys left and right. So really interesting, a nice mix of styles. Curtis, as you said, struggled a little bit, came off. Gravenberch came on and gave us more impetus going forward and was, you know, really pivotal in rescuing the game to some degree. But I'm thinking, watching that game, I'm thinking to myself, you know, they've come back with allegedly 43 million for Andre. I don't see the club going there. So does that mean we ride it out with the bodies we've got? And everyone forgets about Besetic. Everyone just forgets about him because we haven't seen him since March last season when he tore the abductor and he came back very briefly. He will have a big part to play, and he would have had a big part to play even if he went and spent £30 million on another player in there. Klopp likes him. He's got a future at the football club, and he will see plenty of minutes. And he will make a difference because of his energy, because he's mobile, because he can play football. I know there's been a big clamour to say, don't put the responsibility of your midfield on such young shoulders. We did exactly the same with Steven Gerrard. That didn't turn out too badly, did it? I'm not suggesting he's Steven Gerrard, but if they're old enough, they're good enough. You know, it's
Absolutely.
one of them, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, it comes to half-time, guys. Half-time in the match and just over half-time in the show. We're not going to go for that much longer. We've still got a few things to tuck into. But of course, it's that time of the show where I shout our magnificent sponsors. Guys, make sure you go and check out yourfutcard.com. As you can see on the website there, they do your FIFA cards, customized FIFA cards. They obviously brought out the metal football art prints, illustrations made by various artists and designs from the Your FT Card team. All football art illustrations are printed on a metal cards, 3mm thick with a gloss finish, absolute top quality. And I can absolutely vouch for that because I have a number of these myself, and they all magnificent quality. People that have bought them have messaged me privately and said you was absolutely spot on. They're brilliant, very, very well priced as well. They've also now brought out player moments metal prints as well. Again, very similar type of finish. Any moment you want played out on or sort of drawn out on a print, you can ask them and they'll be more than happy to oblige. You click that little icon in the corner and ask them anything you want if you're unsure with my explanation, as many will be. Listen, go and check them out. They've got a magnificent sale until Tuesday night, I believe, shipping out to all parts of the UK and around the world. So you've got plenty of time to get your orders in. They've got Black Friday sale, guys. 30% off. 30% off. You can't go wrong. Go and check them out. Yourfutcard.com. Type in Red Fellas If you're after Tuesday, you'd get 15% off if you type in Red Fellas. But now, right now, they've got a Black Friday sale which enables a 30% discount, and they're already flying. So get your orders in. Get your orders in. It's nearly half time. I hadn't given up. I knew we're still in this. I knew we had to up it a little bit. I knew we'd maybe have to weather maybe one more sort of concerted effort from City to kill the game. It didn't really come. I thought the second half was far more tactical from both teams. Both teams, they were very wary of us, Steve, and that is so good. That's such a good feeling again. Even though we weren't at our best, I'd say we were 60%, 65%. From a defensive point of view, from a structure point of view, we were very good, but our fluency wasn't there in our attack. Our speed of transition wasn't its usual self. But they were wary of us, Steve, and that kind of kept us in the game, if you know what I mean, because of the fact that he knew the substitutions and the strength of play we're able to bring off the bench will at some point impact the game.
Yeah, totally. And City would be, given their bench, instructed to sort of look after themselves and not gas themselves long before the end of the game, because this is a Liverpool side that could take control of the game and run away from you. So, yeah, it was strange. They didn't make any changes, really, did they?
He didn't make any changes.
Make any. Well, you look at his bench, he couldn't really, could he? He had Lewis on the bench, who's probably the go-to, but Kyle Walker had that side tied down as he normally does. You have to give him his plaudits, mate. That's a brilliant one-on-one defender, to be fair. And we grew into the game. We got better. We got stronger. We had a little bit more control. Second half started much better than the first half did. We were at it right from the word go. Sometimes I sit there thinking, I can't wait for half time so that he can get him in and have a chat with them about things that aren't working. And we do respond to whatever changes tactically at half time. So the lads are listening and they're coming out and delivering what he wants them to do. And I think we'll get onto it. But the changes always make the difference at the moment, don't they? And in years gone by, that's probably something that's been levelled at Klopp as a little bit of a weakness. In terms of, does he make the right changes at the right times? He's getting it right this year for me. And the bodies that he brought onto the pitch to take over from those that had worked really hard. We didn't drop off, did we? We were, if anything, we got from an offensive point of view, we got better.
So let's get into them. So the obvious one, I think everyone knew, would be Gravenberch for Jones, and the other one, I think it would have happened anyway, but I think in the end it was kind of enforced, wasn't it, with the Jota injury? Now, Look, let's speak about the injury first. That is the downside of the evening, morning, I should say, afternoon it was. The Jota injury. It's bloody annoying. Just when Jota's showing a bit of form, and when he gets into those goal-scoring streaks of 5-6 games in a row, it looks like it's another injury. It looks like hopefully nothing too serious, but serious enough to miss at least a couple of weeks, probably in the busiest December, where we could do with everyone being available. Frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, that's been a feature of Jota's career for Liverpool. A couple of bad injuries. The one away in Europe when everyone thought he shouldn't have played, but that was a sort of a wear and tear injury as opposed to anything else. So that could have and would have happened anyway. It's one of those, because he's been in a rich vein of form. He's been scoring goals. His press has been really good. His link-up plays been a lot better. He's been dropping up deep and building things. So he's clearly got intelligence to develop his game around what Liverpool are trying to do. Just now means, and this is the positive that comes out of this, Grizz, is that now means Luis Diaz is going to get a run of games in the side. He's sat on the bench and watched. That's a player for me that was in a rich vein of form, scored 2 great goals in international against Brazil, against Alisson. And really is a guy that I think needs a run of games in the side to develop his confidence. We do switch it about. We do mix and match it depending on who we're playing against. But some players don't need that. And I'm kind of looking at Diaz and thinking he just needs to know he's part of the team and leave him in there and give him half a dozen games. And I think he might get 2 or 3 more games now where he plays sort of probably the whole game, because there aren't a list of players to come in and play on that left-hand side, Gakpo aside, who's done it as a career but seems to have moved more centrally now. So I think he'll get a run of games. But the frustrating thing for Jota is if he's 2 or 3 weeks out, he's going to need another 2 or 3 weeks to find his feet, because he's always a slow starter back off his injuries, isn't he?
You're
so
spot on.
you know, you're looking at 6 games for me, before you see the real Jota, and by then a lot of water's gone under the bridge in terms of fixtures, really important fixtures to sustain a title challenge, because that's what we're doing. We're challenging for the title, and we're going to need points from these games. We're not going to be able to rely on him.
And this was the game that we definitely needed to get something out of to enhance our hopes and dreams and aspirations for a title charge. And just like Dan was saying at the ground, he was sort of saying, I wasn't at the game, but he was at the game, and he was saying there was a sense of we stick in here and there is something here for us, even though we didn't have I can't recall having many clear-cut chances. I can remember situations where we should create a chance out of the situation, but not quite the final pass. So, for example, leading up to the goal itself, Luis Diaz has a chance to put Salah through. Again, just falls short.
Yeah.
They have an attack where Doku, for I think only the 2nd or 3rd time in the game, actually goes past our defenders, gets to the byline, puts a cross in. Haaland gets a connection. And that man, Alisson, even though we're saying he had one of his worst games in a long time, makes another crucial save. And that save from there, again, McAllister picks up the ball, Steve, like he has many times this season. And instead of just God bless Henderson and Fabinho, whereas their first reaction was always to just kick it away, McAllister, the advantage, we've spoken about the disadvantages of him in that 6, and I agreed with the points that you've made in terms of against dogs of war and sort of, the bus and everything else, and they're being physical with him. But one of the positive things of having Alexis McAllister in that role is he's always looking to start an attack, even if it's in his own penalty area. And that's what he does. He manages to find that guy, substitute Gravenberch. Gravenberch decides to, one of the few times I've seen Rodri ran at, and Rodri couldn't keep up with him. He kind of strides past Rodri, gets the ball out to Diaz. We score from that break. I'll let you describe the rest of it, because it was actually, looking back, quite a wonderful team goal, Steve.
Yeah, it was. And obviously you talk about McAllister feeding the ball, picks up the ball at the edge of the inside the box, has a little turn out, plays the ball to Gravenberch. He stretches his legs and goes away from Rodri. And I'm having an absolute mental block about who put the ball in the back of the net here. This happens occasionally, so I'll let you take over the second half of the commentary on that one. It's just eluded me for some...
So the ball goes out to Diaz, who actually plays the ball behind Salah. He doesn't play it right into his feet. He plays the ball out to Salah, and Salah gets his customary... By the way, guys, someone remind me, is that his 9th consecutive game where he's assisted or scored against Man City? And if that's true, that's an amazing stat. So Salah gets the ball on the edge of the box, and as is custom now, guys, if you've all noticed, there's a move that we make now where when Salah gets the ball wide right, Steve, someone makes that channel run to either receive the ball or let Salah have space to cut in. Salah does neither doesn't play the pass to Gakpo. This time it's Gakpo who makes the most intelligent run. Usually it's Szoboszlai who makes that run, right? And it's Gakpo who makes that run this time. So that shows me that's a training ground move that we've worked on again and again. It's just the personnel are different. This time Gravenberch makes the decoy run. Salah doesn't use him. Salah doesn't come inside himself to shoot. Instead, Trent, who was on the penalty spot, has followed up the play, and asked to receive the ball on the edge of the box. And in true Trent a la Steven Gerrard style, technique is exemplary. The finish is beautiful. And he goes and shushes the whole of the Etihad Stadium.
Yeah, a little touch with the outside of his boot and then fired it into the far corner. Yeah, I don't know. That happens from time to time with all of us. You just can't clear the fog.
It happens to me all the time, mate.
Yeah, it's mad. It's a senior moment for both of us at times, mate. In his new Predator boots as well, mate. There's another similarity to Gerrard, the Adidas brand.
Maybe it was the boots. Do you remember growing up, we used to think wearing the right football boots would make us that bit faster or hit the ball with a bit more swerve and curl. Maybe it was these new Predators that enabled him to smash that ball into the back of the net.
It was a nice big contract with Adidas, mate. Him and Bellingham up there leading the way for Adidas. So, I'd welcome Adidas back as kit suppliers as well, because they were always the best kits for me.
I'm a massive.
So am I, mate. Big Adidas fan. Again, another age thing, I think, mate, from our childhood, mate. Can't let go and all that.
Yep.
Trent, do you know what? Now we've got Trent. I'm going to ask you a question. I've seen various accounts of the game where there are actually people on Twitter that think Trent was our worst player, and there are, on the caveat to that, there are people on the pitch that on Twitter that think Trent was our best player. Where are you?
He was no way our worst player. I mean, I don't know where that's come from. Alisson was our worst player. I don't think anyone else was. Curtis Jones, you could say, was below average. I don't think anyone else was below average. I think everyone else was average at worst to good. No one was magnificent. Well, I think Matip was magnificent. But Trent, I don't know what to make of it. People, obviously, because of the goal, gave him man of the match. But this perceived one-on-one duel he had with, what was his name? Doku. They perceive him as having the worst game. I think he was good. I think Trent played him cleverly and smartly. I think Trent stopped him from coming inside on his right every time. And if Doku wanted to go on the outside, then fair enough. He trusted Matip and Virgil's covering of the near post, which they did do on the whole magnificently. I thought Trent played him strategically, tactically very well. Physically, guys, there's only so much you can do to stop someone as quick and fast and agile and as two-footed as Doku. It's not possible for 98 minutes, 97 minutes to stop Doku beating you at least once or twice in the game. Do you get it, Steve? It's virtually impossible from a physical point of view. What you got to do is play to your strengths and be as strategic as you can. And I thought Trent done that. That's my view.
Do you know, having been involved in the game at a reasonable standard, sometimes you will let a man run past you because he's running into a channel where he can't hurt your team. So there's no need to put a challenge in sometime. Let him go to the byline, let Trent face him up, let Matip come across and shut down the options across. So he's got to go back where it came from. The amount of times he turned out and went backwards because we got that tactic right. So when I see some people I respect on Twitter coming out with comments about he got burned off 7 times, nothing came from any of those 7 times, because sometimes you just let a man run into a channel where he can't hurt you. I think at times Doku was a bit of a headless chicken, if I'm being honest with you. You know, difficult to read from his teammates' perspective. What's he going to do next? Difficult for a number 9 in the vein of an Erling Haaland to understand where to be and when to be there, because there's no real rhyme and reason to what Doku's going to do next. It's that unpredictability, which often means he goes past 3 or 4 players at the same time, because it's kind of off the cuff stuff, and that's really not what Man City do. So you said before, an electric player, really, really difficult to get to grips with. I don't think Trent had a bad game. I think Alisson would probably shade the sort of wooden spoon for the worst performance because of the distribution and things like that. But he also pulled out 2 or 3. He saves one from Foden right down in the bottom corner.
Oh, magnificent! Oh, magnificent save. Yeah. But the thing is, the reason why we don't talk about it is because that's almost as a given. That's the standards he
Yeah.
set, because that was, for any other keeper, that is a save of the season. But for Alisson,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, Alisson saved that from Foden, because that was in. That was in by all accounts. Foden struck it really well. Down to his left, Alisson's left. Magnificent stop. But you're right, his overall decision making. Steve, was that a goal? The foul on the keeper, the disallowed goal. I know we haven't got Conroy, so we can openly bin off the refs without Conroy getting angry with us.
I think we got away with one.
I think we got away with one.
And I think if we'd had a goal chalked off for exactly the same down the other end, you and me would be going absolutely apoplectic right now.
I think we would be.
You'd be fuming, wouldn't we? So, listen, over the course of the season, it's very cliche, these things do even themselves out to some degree. We've had a little bit of the rub of the green sometimes, and we've been harshly dealt with at other times. So, I'll take that one, because they owe us a few, if not just from the Spurs game alone. We're owed a couple of decisions that go our way.
The only thing I will say in favor of the goal being given is, how many times have we seen that goal allowed? We haven't. So
Yeah.
on the basis of that, it's, they're always given. Like the referee, if the referee didn't disallow that, would VAR have disallowed that? That's the question, Steve. Because the referee disallows it on the pitch. So then VAR has to see if there was a clear and obvious error by the referee by disallowing it. Do you get it? If he allowed that goal,
Yeah.
and then it went to VAR, does VAR overrule that and say, no, that's a foul?
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they do. And if you want context, go and look at Joe Linton's challenge at the Newcastle Arsenal game, which was far more physical than the challenge at Arsenal, and the goal stood. So I think we got away with one, and I'm obviously delighted we did, because a goal at that stage, I don't know if we get back into the game. I'm not sure. We might, because we've got that resilience now. But I think it's a soft one. I think football's going soft. You should be able to go shoulder to shoulder with the goalkeepers. Alisson's 6'3". He's a big fella, and 3 or 4 times in his career, when he's challenged in them situations, West Ham away a few years ago, really, really makes you wonder. Physically, doesn't put himself out there.
I was at that West Ham game. That was an awful viewing from Alisson.
Yeah. So I think sometimes they used to say years ago, when a goalkeeper comes for the ball, if you're playing in a team with him, cover up, because you're going to get clattered, and that's what he should be doing. He's a big lad. He's got an aura about him, but he doesn't like the physicality. He doesn't like pressure from other players on him. I'm not knocking him because he's the best goalkeeper in the world, and he's our keeper, but the facts are there. All Rodri did was, or whoever put the pressure on him, I think it was Rodri, wasn't it?
That was
Akanji. Didn't really foul him. He got an arm on him, and we got away with one.
As you said, it happens, and we've been on the receiving end of many a rough decision. I mean, some would say it's not even that rough a decision, to be honest with you. Guys, there's still over 260 of you guys in here, but not even remotely close to the amount of likes that we normally get. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe you're missing Conroy or Cav or Errol or Big Keith or Evan, but come on, me and Steve have done an admirable best to talk the best part of an hour and 10 minutes or so. So come on, give us some credit, man. Like, let's not save all the love for the rest of the lads. Smash that like button right now before we go any further. Go on, do us a favor. That's all we ask for. Steve, magnificent point. Glorious point. But nothing is done either way. And we always said that. But what we wanted to see was a resilience. We wanted to see if this Liverpool 2.0 has got the mentality and the kahunas to keep going. Everyone, after every fixture, kept saying, but. Well, now we've suddenly played Brighton away, Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Man City away, Tottenham away, Wolves away. That is 6 very, very tricky fixtures all out the way. I'm sure there's someone else we've played. Someone remind me in the chat. it bodes well. I get it. But, Steve, this is the tricky point now. Our issue has never been against the big boys away or home. Brighton away, someone just reminded me. Yes. Our situation, our problems last, I don't know how long you want to ask me, 12 to 18 months has been playing the bottom half away from home. And our next two away games are Sheffield United away and Crystal Palace away. Fulham at home. So that should take care of itself. But that Sheffield United and Palace away, Steve, I'd argue is as important as the City away games because of the fact that we've struggled to put those teams away.
Yeah. Apart from one aberration from Palace down at their place, we struggle down there generally. They're loud, they're close to the pitch, they don't make life easy for us. I never wanted Liverpool to come away from the Etihad, even had we won with a massive fanfare and fans getting giddy. We shouldn't be thinking a draw at the Etihad is like a hallelujah moment, because it really isn't. If you want to win titles and your Liverpool Football Club, that just has to be, to coin your favourite phrase, it is what it is. You just walk off, say thanks to the fans for coming. Klopp goes and says thanks to them, and you walk off the pitch. There's no sort of celebrations. There wasn't any, which I'm pleased to see. In fact, Nunez just wanted to start a fight with Pep. So, at the end of the day, it was one of those.
Well, we've all seen Salah's post. We've all seen Salah's post today where he said, not the result we wanted, but we keep going.
Yeah. They're building something. Yeah, they're building something. They asked Trent in his interview, are you building for something? You've seen special teams that win trophies come through at Liverpool Football Club. You've been involved with one. Are you excited for the development of this team? And they are. They're all excited for where they are. Chris, they're a little over, they're like 15, 16 games into the season, 15, 16 games into the regeneration of that Liverpool squad. And I'd say it's ahead of where it should be right now. And they're excited for it. They want to do it. They want to keep going, and they want to keep winning games. They want to keep putting in good performances. There'll be good and there'll be bad days because they're still learning about each other. They're still learning about what Klopp wants them to do. But you're right, Sheffield United and Palace will be different challenges. Different challenges for Alexis McAllister, like I said before. Both of those sides are going to want to smash you every time you get the ball, because that's the way that they get to you. That's the way that they get under your skin. That's the way they get a foothold or a stranglehold in the game, is largely through physicality. And that's what you do when you don't have £50 million creative midfielders. You fight fire with fire. You go hard. You go aggressive right from the word go. And it's not a new thing in football. And we're going to see that in both of those games. Sheffield United will be a set piece performance by them. That's what they look for, set pieces, because they can't match us toe to toe. So they'll make themselves difficult to play against, and they'll try and snatch something on a set piece. So yeah, you're right. There's no point going to City and getting a very credible draw, and then going to the likes of Sheffield United and Palace, and in one of those games coming away with absolutely nothing. We had the Luton game should be the reminder for everybody that you have to turn up for all of these games. We got out of jail big time down at Luton, big time, and not to be repeated. And this is the momentum building now. The City game, the one that we wanted to be where they were. We wanted to be close to them going into the game. We've come out of it, and we're a point behind them. And I think it'll be Liverpool and City that go to the wire. Nobody else. I think those will be the two teams that run it close to the end of the season.
Interesting, because I personally think Arsenal will contest as well. I think that the signings of Rice and Trossard have improved them even further, and I think they've got more options in defence now with the returning of Timber soon, and they've got Tomiyasu, Ben White vying for their places. So I think Arsenal will be there or thereabouts, but I've openly said it. I think we're going to be the closest competitors to Man City, and I know what you mean. Man City game wasn't about... Man City game, I think, Steve, was almost a pride thing. Almost, we wanted to be in their heads, in Pep's heads. And I saw enough with Pep's reactions on the touchline every time we had an attack or a corner, he was back into holding his head again. The days when he used to worry about us, I don't think they're far away. I don't think we're quite there yet, and that's fair enough, because as we've said so many times, we're building something. It's year one. But the fact that we're in their heads and slowly becoming a force, I needed to see the mentality and the attitude and the desire. The three things that we actually accused Liverpool of not having. And that was very, very un-Liverpool-like, un-Klopp-like last season. We can talk about the injuries, we can talk about everything else, but the attitude, desire, and the energy should never have been a question. But it was. I think all three of those things have been addressed this season, Steve. Now it's just a matter of executing the game plans that Klopp and Pep Linders are putting in place. I think we'll be fine, because even Luton was nothing like the games that we dropped points last season. Do you remember? We just didn't create chances away to all those teams, what we said. Luton away, we had so many chances, we just couldn't put it away. So it bodes well. Sheffield United, guys, coming up. First and foremost, it's the Europa League game in midweek. I think I'm making, if possible, 11 changes, Steve. Now, I get it. We still haven't secured the group, but in all likelihood, we should have enough to beat. How do you say their name? Linsk. Forgive me if I've said it wrong. Lask. Close.
Close. It,
yeah. You got the middle one. I said the Lance and the Lisk, and you said Lask. You got the middle bit, and you done it right. I'm making 11 changes. Obviously, no Alisson. I'm making 10 outfield. If we can roughly pick a team at the top of our head, so I'm going Gomez, right back. I'm going Kwanzaa, Konate, young lad. Help me out. Chambers? What's his name? Chambers?
Yeah.
I'm going Endo.
Yeah.
I'm going Curtis Jones again.
Curtis Jones and Elliott.
Curtis Jones, Elliott in midfield. Then up front, what we're doing, because we haven't got no Jota. Doak, definitely.
Yeah, Luis Diaz.
Gakpo. And you're going Gakpo.
Gakpo.
That's your team. I don't think there's any reason not to have that team. So what you're suggesting, you're holding back Gravenberch. Are you starting Gravenberch against Fulham then? Because if not, you might as well throw Gravenberch in there and put Elliott wide right, Doak off the bench.
You could. I think you still want that quick transition. And how many times have we walked through the fact that, as good as Elliott is, when you want to stretch a team, you know, a breakaway, he's not your guy. Whereas you put the ball in behind, Doak will get there first because he's quick, isn't he? So, an interesting set of circumstances, interesting dynamics there, isn't there?
I'm actually tempted to play the other young fella. Apparently, he was in the squad ahead of him, Scanlon. Apparently, he's more attacking than Chambers. So
Yeah,
if we're looking for a younger sort of fullback who's going to do the overlap and the running, maybe he's more suited. But either way, I'm making 11 changes, right? And then all focus is on, because there's no point getting a brave, gritty point, let's just say, away to City. Not a glorious point, a brave and gritty point away to City, and then not capitalising at home to Fulham, right? Because that would be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, totally. You know, we said it before, didn't we, about the away games? It's all the games now. You know, we're in the mix, aren't we? We're a point behind them. The standard bearer, the one that everybody says, if you're going to win the title, that's who you've got to finish above. The league table at the moment, so far, you know, City will go on a 10-15 game run. We've lost one game in 24. You know, that's lost on a lot of people. One game in 24. That's
And even that was crazy circumstances.
Even that was a robbery. So whilst it's not always fluid and it's not always the brand of football and the convincing victories we want, we've got something going on. We've got this ability to manage out games and win them. And that's a really good habit to have. And it's very much, you know, think of the title winning season when games seem to be drifting away from us and we pull a rabbit out of a hat. We've got that again now. We've got, you know, we went to City and went to go down, and nobody panicked. That's the difference.
That's
Nobody
the
panicked.
difference. Nobody panicked.
No, whereas last season it was like, oh shit, here we go again. We'll drop off 20 yards. We'll invite them on and they'll absolutely murder us. But that's we just didn't do that. And this super brave thing that Klopp keeps saying, I love that. That's what, if you're going to win a title, I was calling for front foot football back end of last season, and I thought Liverpool would do that with the signings they made. And they've learned from Man City and they've learned from Arsenal, and Spurs are doing it now. There's genuinely 4 sides that are playing football on the front foot, and those 4 sides are, 3 of them are in the top 4. Aston Villa being a little bit of a surprise package to some degree. We knew they would improve under Emery. They're a good side. Great result for them today. Have they got the staying power? I'm not convinced. I do agree with you. The top 3 will be who we expect it to be. I just think sometimes when the chips are down, Arsenal go missing a little bit. That back end of last season, they blew up, didn't they? You talk about know-how. So our back 4's got, our back 5's got know-how. Just a couple of lads in the front 3 or 4 have got know-how. Jota and Salah know how to do it. So, and the club knows how to do it. So
that's it. Look, Black Jock says, I love what Klopp said. We love 12:30 kickoffs. They cannot break us. Well, Man City didn't break us, and that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see Liverpool not broken after the Man City game, and that's where we are. We go again. I think we go again, guys. I think we're onto something here. I genuinely believe Liverpool are ahead of schedule, and that's all we can ask for at this stage. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. Hope you guys all enjoyed me and Steve. Unfortunately, our guest's Wi-Fi and technical issues hampered the start. But just go and abuse Keith and Evan and Conroy and the rest of the lads, Cav. Like, absolute... Well, how can you miss the best game of the season? Go and have a go at them. But Steve, I think we done well. Just like Liverpool, we showed great resilience and mentality.
we did. We didn't panic.
We didn't panic. Excellent. Guys, this has been Red Fellas. This has been Sunday night. Hope me and Steve kept you entertained for the last hour and a half. Make sure you've liked. Make sure you've subscribed if you haven't. Go check out our sponsors, yourfutcard.com. Make the most of the 30% discount Black Friday sale they've got on now. And we shall see you in midweek. And then we shall see you next week. The show will go on. Trust me. Liverpool aren't going anywhere. Good night.